Okay, a couple months ago I did Massaman curry paste in the easine, and it sounds complicated. There's a lot of ingredients and everything, but once you have the ingredients, it's actually pretty quick to make. You'll see me make curry paste here in about a couple minutes. First we're going to toast the spices. I got some coriander in the pan there, and next we're going to add some cardamom. I don't do the whole pods because that's even too much work for me. There's a few more cardamom pods in there. This is, like I said, it's Massaman, which uses a lot more spices than other curry paste. Got some whole black peppercorns. Don't need a ton of those. That's pretty good. And this is going to be enough to make a huge batch. You know, I'll be able to make curry probably, I don't know, 7-8 times with this batch of spices. So if you're just making a small batch, you won't need quite as much. That's cumin seeds there going in. We have some whole cloves. Almost out of those. It doesn't take many. A couple left in there. But you can see they're toasting. A little smoke is coming off of these. It's worth it just for the smell. I mean, the smell of these spices is incredible. You just toast those just for a little bit. You don't want to blacken them or totally fry them and char them. But this really opens up their aroma. That's plenty of heat for them. And then I use this little coffee grinder, which I refer to as a spice grinder. I grind grain with this, and also these whole spices. But don't be intimidated by the whole spices. Don't let this deter you from making it, because you can use ground cardamom and ground coriander and ground cumin and ground black pepper and ground cloves and make a great curry paste. Like I said, I'm just a little obsessive, and once you get in the habit of using these, it's hard to go back to the pre-ground stuff. So just going to grind them up, and then we'll have our spice part done. And that's all it takes. And we got some great looking spices. Don't worry, that's not smoking plastic. It has smoke from the hot seeds. But good stuff. That's the spices for that part. Okay, so we're on to the rest of the paste here. You actually use a spoon to peel ginger. This is fresh ginger root here. And it seems kind of weird, but it takes the minimum amount of skin off. It doesn't take any flesh underneath. If you use a peeler, you're going to lose a lot of your ginger. And but yeah, you just peel that up. I'm going to go ahead and cut these little knobs off because I'm not that obsessed. But we have a nice big chunk of ginger. I will probably use, let's say, about that much. And I'm doing it in a food processor, so I don't need to totally mince everything. Just need a nice rough chop so it can get started when I throw it into the food processor. Okay, that's the ginger. We have some lemongrass here. Lemongrass is always the toughest to cut. It is very woody and fibrous, and you need to cut it pretty well before you put it in the food processor, because the food processor will not shred this into little micromolecules. It will leave big whole woody chunks and make for definitely a lower quality curry. Okay. We'll do knife skills in one of the videos too. There's a real technique to it. We'll go over it sometime. You guys probably think I'm about to cut my finger off, but there's actually a real method to this. Then you just dice it up real small. Yeah, it's very tough to cut through. It's like cutting through a stick, but you gotta have it. This is cutting with a very sharp knife. It's still pretty tough. Okay, so there's our lemongrass that we'll throw in the food processor when we're ready. We got some shallots here. Just going to give those a nice rough slice because they will mince up in the food processor very, very well. Now, a lot of people will use mortar and pestle for curry, and they swear by it, but you know, you can make great, great curry without using a mortar and pestle. A mortar and pestle will take at least 20, maybe 30 minutes to grind all this stuff up. So we got some cilantro going in now. I'm actually going to use the root end. It's very common. They actually grow the roots, the underground part, and put them in traditional curry paste. But you won't find those at any U.S. supermarkets. That'll probably work. Let me take a few leaves too. Okay. We have here just some dried red chilies. They're not spicy, they're mild. Those were purchased at a Mexican store. It's just a dry powder that I added water to make a nice red paste. That's really good stuff. I'm going to get a couple of these garlic cloves peeled and chopped and thrown in, and then we'll throw it in with the spices, puree it for a while, and you got curry paste. I'll show you guys the finished product in just a minute. Okay, so we got everything in there, you can see, including the garlic I was talking about chopping up. I put a little cayenne pepper in there to spice it up a little bit. That was actually a little too much, but it's curry and it's a lot of it, so it'll be fine. And I'm just going to turn it on and let it run for 4 or 5 minutes until it's just really, really nice and pasty and smooth. Okay, so you can see our curry paste is just awesome. It's really nice and smooth, almost like peanut butter. Okay, I did run the food processor for like 5 minutes, added the spices at the end, the dry spices. Okay, so we're ready to go with this. In here, I have the same combination I used for the Tom Kha Gai coconut soup. This is the sliced onion and red bell pepper and about a half stick of butter. Okay, it's been going for a few minutes, so it's nice and soft. Next step is to add a nice chunk of curry paste. That's a big chunk. I'm making a batch for probably enough to feed 5 or 6 people. But you're going to toast it on the bottom, and just for a couple minutes, and then you're going to deglaze. You can use water or chicken stock. We'll get to that step next. Okay, so it's nice and toasted on the bottom. All that paste has had a chance to blend with some hot butter. And now we're going to add some liquid. If you don't have chicken stock around, don't worry about it. I almost always use water for this, but just happen to have some chicken stock, so I'm using that this time. But you're just going to cover that just a little bit, not too soupy. You don't want it too thin at the end. That should be plenty.